Okay, so I'm gonna make a shirt. Um, I already made a shirt, but it's long sleeve. So I wanted to make a shirt that's short sleeve since it's starting to get warmer, and I have a show on um, Saturday. So I'm going to show you. I haven't really shown you guys from like start to finish on a shirt, and I haven't shown you more than one color on a shirt. So I want to do that. Um, so that's what I'm gonna do tonight. Today, I guess it's tonight, isn't it? Let me share this in a few places. Get some of you guys on here. There it is. Okay, so this is an ink mat. I don't have my catalog with me. I think these are $17.99. This is a 17 by 17, so it works really well for the pillows that I make that are 18 by 18. It fits in there perfectly. The reason for the ink mat is, if you can tell, there is some ink on it, so the ink will bleed through. So if you're doing something that's double layered, it's a good idea to have the ink mat to avoid bleeding. The other thing is it's adhesive. It's a removable adhesive, so it holds your shirt or whatever you're working on flat, so that you're able to work on the project. So as you can see, like, there's strings and fuzz and stuff on it, and just like our transfers, this is also washable. So I'm just going to use a Clorox wipe and wipe it off and let it dry, and it'll be back to normal. Obviously it gets fuzz and dirt on it from it being, in a shirt or in cloth, which is same as us fuzzing our transfers. So just gotta clean that off, so that makes it a little bit more sticky. It takes some of that bleeding off too. Once it dries, the bleeding, the ink that's on here, once it dries, you don't really have to worry about it going on to your next project. There isn't really a concern with that. Alright, so I got most of the stuff off of it. I'm just gonna let it dry a minute. The shirt I'm doing is just a gray small V-neck shirt that I got from Walmart. You can pretty much use any shirt that you want, or any fabric that you want. I just wanted to get a t-shirt so that I'm not so warm. The last show I was at, I was actually like directly in the sun. Just the way, because they had like huge windows that had no blinds or anything on them, and so when the sun started moving, it was like, by afternoon I was like half asleep because the sun was right on me. So okay, so normally when I do video, or the few videos that I've done with inking, I haven't shown you guys how to put the mat in it, so I wanted to show you guys that. I'm going to use this just to dry this a little bit more. I don't want to get too close because I don't want to melt it. If you're a crafter and you don't want to invest in the ink mat, there are two different sizes. There's an 18, I think, by 6 or something. It's a long, skinny one, and I think they're both the same price. But if you don't want to invest in one of these fully, some people will cut these up. I don't like to cut it up because I like to be able to have the whole thing. But if I need something small, if you guys have these laying around, so this is an old Cricut mat that I had, and I just cut it up into 4 pieces so I had smaller ones. I did some little like clutch bags, and so I needed something smaller for that to go into. So these are older, they're not as good at adhesive. They might be if I did the Clorox with them, but so this gives your surface a hard, or your fabric a hard surface. It stops the bleeding. It's pretty much the same material as this, and then if it still has adhesive on it, it'll hold that fabric. So that's kind of a tidbit. Okay, so I'm actually gonna do, I don't have a lot of ink colors because I don't do a lot of textiles, so I just haven't invested in ink colors. So this is the first one I purchased, which was the Couture Teal, because I figured I would need it for shirts. And then the other one I ordered later was the black one. I used the black one probably more, but I'm going to be using both colors today on this shirt. So let me show you how to get this in here. So sometimes for like the pillows that I have, there's a zipper in the middle of the back. So I just kind of fold it up and shove it in there. It's really not that hard to get it in there, but this is really flexible to be able to use. So I just put it in here, put it over it. I kind of just try to square it up on the shirt. That way I know that it's straight. Now the design is going to be, obviously because this is a V-neck, so the design is going to be down lower. You can kind of feel, so this is the edge of the, because the mat's all the way up. But you can move the mat down further. Just kind of keep the shirt in its form flat so that you know that you're in the middle and centered. Okay, so once you get it on there where you want it, and it's not really, you don't have to be too particular, it's just that you need it underneath the surface that you're going to be working on. And you want to make sure that you're kind of straight here. So you can see that it really holds this flat. You can see where the adhesive holds that, so you can smooth out any wrinkles so you're not struggling with that part. Okay, so I'm actually going to be doing something kind of neat. I'm going to be doing our truck transfer, and then I'm going to put the Chalk Couture underneath it. So this is why I'm going to be doing more than one color, because this is a layered transfer. So this is the last time I used this. I just did parts of it. I'm going to move this up for just a minute and make sure that these, I'm just kneeling at my desk right now. The chair I had pretty much gave out on me, and I haven't gotten a new chair. Anyways, I want to make sure this is as clean as possible. It seems to be pretty clean. It just tinted the transfer because I used red. Just make sure there's no paste in my Silkscreen. And this will help it stick well. You don't really have to worry, obviously, about fuzzing when it comes to your transfers on the fabric, because it's I'm just going to do all of these while I have this shirt moved. Because you want it to stick as much as possible to it. So the last one I used on this was actually a shimmer color. So you do have to work a little bit harder with the shimmer colors to make sure you're getting them off. Sometimes that glitter really sticks. It's not going, if you have glitter on the transfer itself and not the Silkscreen, it's not a big deal. But you don't want it to be on the Silkscreen at all, because it will, you'll get dots that'll show up. Sometimes it's easier to wash those shimmers off like immediately. I got a lot of stuff packed up for this show already, including my fuzz cloth, so I don't have that put in here. It's not very dry. I'm going to do it from a far distance because this gets really hot and I don't want it to melt my transfer, but it needs to be dry for me to use it. You'll, if you ever try to use a transfer wet, it will bleed. Because there's moisture in that Silkscreen. So it's really important to get your transfers dry. Okay. So I'm going to move this back down. Okay, so with this, I don't know how, I think I've only done the truck ones on live, but so with this one, so this is the bottom of the truck. So the bottom of a truck, you can do a different color than the top of the truck. So if you look at this bottom part is not Silkscreen other than the details. So that's where this part pops. So that part I'm going to do in the teal, and then I'm going to do the truck in black. Now you have to be really careful with the ink. I tend to be kind of messy, so you really need to be careful with the ink that you're not getting it anywhere on your fingers and then touching the fabric, because then you'll have spots all over. So you have to be really careful on that. And the inks are usually in a pretty good consistency. It's always a good idea to kind of go the same direction with your inks. You will be using more ink than you would paste because it does soak into the fabric. And it also doesn't hurt too when you go through this, when I get this all done, to do another layer. The inks are pretty bright pigment. The first shirt I did was black, and this turned out fairly well. I actually ended up doing it twice because I didn't go back. But they do turn out pretty well on even dark colors. The pigment's pretty bright on it. And with the ink too, you need to wash these transfers immediately because it's a permanent ink. You need to get it off the silkscreen as soon as possible. So as soon as you're done with the project, it's a good idea to wash these transfers immediately. Okay, so I'm gonna go right back over these again. Just to make sure I get that really vibrant color and that I've covered everything. I don't want to miss any part of it. And you want to make sure that you're getting all the ink off there and you're not leaving globs of it so that it dries. I do usually leave the stuff to dry overnight, and then I will iron it the next day. See, I already got some on there, so it's good to have a Clorox wipe near to make sure that your hands stay clean. Okay, and then you're just gonna peel it off like you would normal transfer. And you can see how bright that color is. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for just a second since I'm going to be layering over it. And I'm going to do the chalk one. This one's still a little wet. Normally I put these, you guys see it, if I clean them I usually put them in my fuzz cloth on the inside with the microfiber, and that usually dries them. But like I said, I have all that stuff packed up right now, which is why I haven't been live as much, because I had a show 2 weeks ago, and so I didn't really unpack too much. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put this, and I'm gonna put it down a little bit because these are the rims of the truck, so there is tires that go underneath it. Make sure there isn't any wrinkles in your fabric. feel like I keep feeling one. Might just be a string. Because when you do this, it's kind of, you're not sure if you make a mistake if it's going to wash out. There's been people that have not heat set stuff and it's never washed out, so you want to try to make sure you're not making any mistakes on it. And if you're uncomfortable with doing that, I wouldn't try it. I have no problem doing custom orders in regards to ink. If that's something that you're not comfortable doing, I can do that. And the ink, we pretty much, every color that's the paste is also available in the ink. So there's a number of color choices. The ink does run a little more than the paste does. I probably should know this, but I want to say that it's $17.99. Paste runs $12.99. It's the same size jar, 3-ounce jar. See how clean those images come out. Okay, I'm gonna take this and dry my blue a little bit. The only reason I'm doing that is because I'm layering. Otherwise I normally would not do that. Alright, how dry is this one? That's pretty dry. Okay. So now the only thing with this is lining it up, obviously. There's something like stuck on the silkscreen here. Not sure what that is. And I'll see if it works. Okay. So I'm going to do the truck black over top of this. So the biggest thing, or the easiest way to line this up, is to line it up with the wheels. There will be some cover, like stuff that goes over it. Obviously the details that are on the bottom, those are already blue, so the black's gonna go over that. So that bottom one kind of, the image kind of bleeds off so that it's a clear image on the black. So those colors connect well. doesn't hurt to keep checking. The reason I do this is because I've had that mistake happen before. So it's always a good idea to just keep checking your hands. I'm really bad with it on the paste when I'm doing projects. I get it all over my hands. You really want to make sure that you're hitting all the spots. It is going to look a little different on the parts that were blue that we're covering over, or the teal. Those are a little lighter, so you just want to make sure that you are getting those covered. Those are probably the ones that you want. The black is pretty dark, so especially on a light colored shirt, I wouldn't worry about trying to do more than one layer of ink on it. But I would probably ink over the colors that I'm layering, just to make sure that that gets covered completely. See, I'm already getting black on my fingers. And some people will actually, I've seen people tape off the edges of the transfer with like painter's tape or something, just to make sure that they're not moving off the transfer at all, or if they do, that they have the tape to protect that. And if you don't use the tape, just be really careful that you're not going off the transfer. Alright, I think I have everything covered. I'm going to go over some of these bottom parts one more time, just because that's going over the blue. I want to make sure that it's plenty dark. Alright, I think we are good. So I'm going to make sure my hands are clean. This stuff obviously doesn't dry as fast as the paste does, but I wouldn't just leave it on there either, so don't feel like you have to hurry up and get the transfer off. So look at that. So you can see where the blue was. That's why it's important to wash these, because obviously there's ink on the inside since I layered it. there's the shirt. You can be careful because I got these jars open. Take this off now. Just be really careful as you take it off that you're not touching stuff with it because there is bleeding on the ink mat. You can see the blue that's on there. Okay, so now I will just let this sit and dry overnight, and then tomorrow I will take a piece of parchment paper and then let that or piece of parchment paper. Sorry, I'm doing more than one thing at once. Piece of parchment paper, and then use my iron. It does say on the back of these, there's a little part to actually flip open. If I can get it without taking the label off completely. There we go. Okay, so on the back of these jars, you can open it up, and it actually has recommended for permanent application on Chalk Couture fabric surfaces and other heat-resistant surfaces. Apply a thin, even coat using a squeegee over the chalk transfer. Scrape off excess ink and remove and wash transfer immediately after application. Use with ink mat to protect work surface and prevent bleed through. Once dry, remove the mat and heat set design with medium iron using parchment paper as a barrier for a minimum of 4 minutes per side. So it has the instructions right there on there. You can let it dry with the ink mat on it. It's not a bad idea, but you can see how it bled through. So that's why it's saying both sides. So do the front side and then turn it inside out and do the back side. And then you're good to go to wash as normal. Nothing special you have to do with it. And it's the really cool part about this is because I've made a lot of shirts with iron-on vinyl, HTV, you know, with my Cricut, and they were always like, it's always bulky, especially if you're doing big images. So with this, I mean, this is inside, this is not inside, I don't want to say that, like it's, the ink is absorbed into the fabric, so it doesn't make it bulky. You can't really feel it when you're touching the design. You can't really feel it once it's dry. It's just a part of the shirt. Same with like, this is obviously has a design on it, but I can't feel that, you know, the cow doesn't feel any different than this part of the shirt. So that's kind of how this is. So this is kind of nice, and you can use this with any of our transfers that we have, any of them, and you can put it on any fabric that you want. You don't have to just make shirts. You can make pillows. I've made tote bags. I've just made pillows, tote bags, and shirts, and then I made little bags, little like clutch bags that were canvas. You can go to craft stores and they have lots of canvas products. Hobby Lobby has a lot of stuff that's just blank stuff. I did do this hat. Now this is the iron-on, just because I couldn't get the transfer flat on this part of the hat. I was just having problems with it. But this cow that's on here, that is actual ink. So, this hat itself came from Hobby Lobby. It's one of those bun or ponytail hats. The pillowcases, you can get those from Hobby Lobby. You can order them on Amazon. Amazon has a lot of that stuff too. The tote bags that I did, I can grab those really quick. So the tote bags I did, these are 2 bags from Hobby Lobby. And then I also have the clutch bags that I did. And those came from Hobby Lobby as well. So there's those. And then this is another bag that I made for my stuff. So this is a black canvas bag. And this has the teal color on it that I just used. So you can see that it shows up very well even on black. There's not any issue with that. So yeah, so tomorrow I'm gonna let this sit out and dry, and tomorrow I'll iron it and it'll be ready to go. So I'm gonna go wash this stuff now. I hope you guys enjoyed the show or video. I will probably not be back on until this weekend. I have that show this weekend in Rock Island at the Holiday Inn in Rock Island. I explained this a little bit earlier on my last live. It's a crafting crop that they're doing for 4 or 5 days at this hotel. So there are people that have rented tables to pretty much be able to craft whatever they please, whether it's scrapbooking, quilting, sewing, card making, whatever they decide that they want to do. So they rented a table to be able to do this for 4 or 5 days. And then the people that are putting it on have decided to do a vendor show on that Saturday. The whole event, including the vendor show, is put on by Adams Alliance MS. I believe they're out of Erie, but so the proceeds, I don't know if all the proceeds, but this is a benefit for MS, and it's a fundraiser that the money will go towards the MS. So they are doing a vendor show, so that's obviously open to everyone that's at the crop, but they're also opening it to the public. So there's going to be a lot of the normal vendors that you would see, but there's also will be a lot of like crafting vendors as well. Creative Memories, that's a scrapbooking one. Stamping It Up, that's scrapbooking, card making, that sort of paper crafts. I can't think of all the ones. There's quite a few of us that are on there. Like I said before, at this show and my show at the end of the month, which I'll talk about more later, I'm only doing Chalk Couture products. I'm not selling any finished products. I'm just selling surfaces, transfers, tools, paste. I'll be taking orders if there's any orders that need to be, if there's something that I don't have that they want. And then I will be doing a incentive for the show. This is going to go on for both March shows. If you set a party, make and take party at the show, you will receive a free bottle of wine. So that's an incentive that I have there. And then I also will be doing the giveaway that I normally do at all my vendor shows. And you'll get a Chalk Couture prize pack. I have not drawn from my last show, and I apologize for that. I will try to do that soon. I have them all in a pile. I just have I kind of took everything that I didn't need for this next show and just kind of put it away, and then I have a huge pile, which is what I keep looking at. I have a huge pile of stuff for this next show, and I'm kind of packing things up differently than I normally would, because this is the first show that I've done that's just products and not finished work. So, and I'm only allowed a 6-foot table use, so I have to make the most of my space. So I'm packing things up a little more differently than I normally would. Anyways, so if you, I know it's supposed to be nice this weekend, but if you're going to be in the cities, the Quad Cities, I always say the cities, if you're going to be in the Quad Cities, stop on by. The hotel, I just looked it up today, is kind of downtown Rock Island, kind of right by where, the bridge is. Not the new bridge. There's a bridge there. I don't know if that's the Arsenal Bridge, maybe, that it's by. Anyways, it's not far from the river, and it's in downtown Rock Island. So, it's going to be there. It starts at 10:30, I think. And I think it runs till 2 or 3, so it's for most of the day. But I'll be there. Free wine if you book a party. I got a giveaway. I got lots of Chalk Couture products. I got transfers. I got paste samples. I got surfaces. I got my sample packs. I got tools. I have jars of paste for sale as well. Lots of stuff I normally don't have for sale at a booth, so it'd be a good idea to come out. I figured this was my thought, is that since I'm going to this show that's a bunch of crafters, it didn't make sense for me to try to sell them crafts that they could make themselves, so I decided that it was best to sell actual product instead of finished stuff. So that was my goal, and the show I have at the end of the month, which I'll talk about again more later, but I'm also limited on space, and it's a big show, so I'm just gonna stick with the products instead of finished work. So that's my March plan. Just a quick plug right now is that I'm still taking orders or reservations for the egg workshop. Okay, the deadline is coming up. It's a week from tomorrow is the deadline, the 11th. I need to know by then so that I can, I have the eggs, because the eggs are sold out. They are sold out and retired. Those eggs are not coming back. So if you want a set of eggs, you need to, I don't want to say you need to, but if you want a set of eggs, your only option is to come to the workshop. Because they are gone. They are not available anymore to be ordered. The pattern transfer is still available and will remain available. So, because that can be used on things other than the egg cutouts. But I need to know a count so that I can make sure that I get enough transfers for all of you guys. I do have all of the new spring colors that came out in the catalog, so you'll be able to use that. The workshop is $35, and that includes a set of eggs, the transfer, and then instructions along with the use of all my colors and tools. So it's a pretty good deal for $35. The eggs are two-sided, so you can do up to 6 different designs on them and color combinations. Also, what else was I gonna say? Totally went blank there. Oh, if you want an extra set of eggs, you can do that too. If you want more than one set of eggs, you can do that for an extra $10. And I'll give you more than one egg, or egg set. So, okay, that's my live for tonight. I will let you guys be. I gotta get back to the family. So, have a great night, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.